things I talk about, that sometimes we're out here traveling and we see the tour buses. Some people we've never heard of before, so I just was curious about this, who this person was, you know, parked next to me. Hey, I'm doing some voiceover because the sound of the motor was kind of loud, but I'm just pulling out of the pilot in a parking space talking about how you have to pull out slow. I also mentioned Elsie and Yuki. Thank you so much for watching my instruction video. And Elsie, think about it, that I'm real open to doing some type of collaborative co-creation related to training. You know, your perspective on things, my perspective. We could probably use technology. I can probably tell you how we could do it, and we can talk about if you're open to that. You might even be able to use it with your students. Just a thought. Anyway, I'm rolling down the highway. Well, actually, currently right now I'm at the truck stop where I saw this tour bus that I just talked about, and I just finished a 30-minute break to use the restroom, and I wanted more daylight, and so I'm ready to roll. So I'm about 344 miles out, and I wanted to make another 5-minute video. And part of the reason I wanted to do this is I wanted to show you, the subscriber, viewer, and potential Squire trainee, that what I'm going to teach the people on my team, the Driving to Tokyo High Performance Ninja High Performance Team, taking place you've never been before, is how to make videos. So you can make your own video, tell your own story. Because my vision is, what happens if I have 5 drivers all doing what I'm doing? 5. And then what happens if those 5 turn into 25? And what happens if those 25 turn into 125? What happens if those 125 turn into 625? What happens if those turn into 3,000? That's geometric progression. You know, it does work. I've seen it work. It does work, and it can work now. So anyway, something to think about, geometric progression, what that means related to recruiting, specifically with night transportation. That's another thing I will be talking about, part of the mindset of this whole vision I have called Driving to Tokyo. So let's roll. I'll talk to you soon. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you next video.
97 north.
Okay, the scale, I'm seeing if it's open or closed. I'm hoping it's closed, so we just go by it. It's open. It's funny. It's open. It's open at 4 o'clock, at 4:44 in the morning. Interesting. So I'm gonna turn the camera off when we officially get by the scale, but I should be okay. I've got really light load. But I was hoping it was closed just so we can breeze by it. Right turn signal. Well, on the Oregon scales, what's nice is when you're going through them normally, it will show your weights. California isn't always like that. So you can see how your weights are, and then if a scale is closed, sometimes I'll intentionally go through the closed scale in Oregon because I can check my weights, without having to do another scale ticket. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dim my lights when I get a little closer. I want him to see that I do have my lights, but I'm going to dim them. I'm going to turn the camera on. Now, I knew my weights were going to be really, really low. And I have a gauge on the Kenworth that has 0 to 50, and it kind of tells you how your steers are. You know, again, quick review. Steers up to 12,000. Your drive and your trailer. And this is what drives me crazy when it's early morning. There's 2 sides. I'm going to the right side. I think the other side was from the left side. Anyway, 12, 34, 34. I think as I was going through, my tandems was only 19,000. This is just round numbers that you get to know. When I
weight, it's going to be around 34 or so. Empty weight 34. Okay. So for example, if you have, like, let's just take a round number, 40,000 pounds of freight, your gross would probably be around, 74,000, something like that, 73,000, somewhere in the neighborhood, depending on how much fuel you have. If you have 200 gallons, let's just call it 5 pounds per gallon. It could be 8, but let's call it 5, just for illustration purposes. That's 1,000 pounds, right? So there's a lot of subtle things that you will get to know. But when you go to Squire and you start out with your trainer, and special hello to Elsie if she's here, because she's a trainer. She's totally awesome. I'm really looking at, she's been driving 3 years, I think, total, but she's been with Nike 2 years. And she's already, she's a trainer, and she also said she does the miles. She really does her thing. But anyway, she knows all this stuff, and I don't know how she teaches. I can't speak for her, but it's been a while since I've been a trainer. I've been with Nike 9 years, and I haven't been a trainer, so I can only speak for myself. I like to take things kind of piece by piece, with a brand new person, because I remember back when I was a trainer, my trainer's name was Frank Ritter. By the way, I'm doing my second 5-minute video for the day, literally driving so that I can get it done before I just did the first video when I'm starting, and I'm kind of doing this on purpose to illustrate to you that how easy this is and how cool it is too, okay? Because that's part of my vision, is to have a driving to Tokyo high-performance team taking you places you've never been before, but it's not required for all the people on the team to do this. It's not like, you gotta do this or you're out of the team, get out of here, go away, grasshopper, but it's part of the vision. It's called duplication, okay? It's this idea that one by one, as each grasshopper goes through the training, becomes a certified grasshopper driver, a beginner driver, okay? They move through the ranks. There's going to be the first grasshopper that becomes the first team member. I don't know when that person, I don't even know who they are, where they are, who they are, but they're going to probably come through the channel, most likely, okay? Now, frankly, all I can control is what I'm doing right now, is set the stage, so when that grasshopper trainer watches the videos, goes, wow, this is exactly what I'm looking for, dude, or whatever. Let me get my speed. We're 60 mile an hour through here. It's kind of dark, let me add something, side comment. I really like to start when it's light, preferably, and normally, oftentimes I will, because you can't see as well at night, okay? And I'm getting older too. I'm almost 70, so, and because of my hours today, this is kind of a side thing, I had 9 hours. I'm actually starting a little bit too early, to be honest with you, because I really don't have to, because I mentioned the earlier start, the earlier finish with parking at the truck stop, but the point is, I have 9 hours, so I don't have a full 11, so I could have started, I'm not saying waited till like 9 o'clock in the morning, but I could have started like 6:30 in the morning, so that's daylight now, so I can see better. So that's just a little like side thing. Don't be afraid to start at a time where you feel better and safer, because at night, see, on a highway like this, see, cars are coming right at you, okay, and you're going right at them. So, by the way, if you're not familiar with this highway, you kind of can't see really well. In addition to that, I've done this gazillions of times, but I know where this highway is, but you can see so much better. Like during the daytime, you can see way up ahead of you, and I know there's going to be a pilot up here. I think it's 25 or 30 miles or something like that. There's another pilot, and then after that pilot, we're going to be taking 58, which cuts over to the Interstate understand the principle of it, but it's kind of like e-logs too, okay? The other day, in fact, just yesterday, okay, I started out really early like this, and I felt kind of tired, not tired where I was going to fall asleep at the wheel, but I didn't feel completely safe because I just felt like, I feel fine now, but I felt like I should have started later when it's lighter. So there was a big, huge pull-out area on the side of the road, you know, one of those big dirt, really wide pull-out areas that you see in some of the highways that we go on. There's not a lot of options, like the 95 coming out of Las Vegas, for places for you to stop, like regular rest stops or regular truck stops. So I pulled off in this big, wide area, and I was going to take a power nap for an hour, which I did. And I woke up and I found this message that said, you violated your sitting duck area, and you should move immediately. You call this number. And I'm like, we never used to have those messages, and now it's something to be aware of, to not. Now, I've always understood it. Definitely don't want to park on an off-ramp or on-ramp or place that a car can, you know, legitimately not see you run into you. But this is just my opinion. There's pull-out areas that are designed for trucks on these long U.S. highways because there's not very many places. There's no shoulder. There's nowhere to stop. There's not a truck stop for 200 miles. And your brake's coming up, and you've got to stop. Does Knight expect us to go PC, Safe Haven, and drive another 200 miles? Because that's the next truck stop, or 150 miles, and our time is up. So that was just surprised. I guess I just have to. I only slept an hour. I got up, it was light, and I continued driving, and I'm just kind of surprised that I got that message. Just kind of a side comment thing. So I'm gonna talk to my driver manager and talk to people back when I get to my. Now I don't know why they're flashing my lights. I don't have my brights on. I don't. See, these are my brights. Okay, I did have my brights. So anyway, I did have my brights. Bad me. Anyway, that's just a side comment. Sitting duck means that Knight does not want you pulling off anywhere other than a designated area like a rest stop or preferably a truck stop. So I will abide by that. However, I just made the determination, rather than feeling unsafe driving, I would pull off and found a really wide spot to take a power nap for an hour, because the next place was up quite a ways in Hawthorne. I knew Hawthorne was coming up. So I guess I should have, bottom line, just stayed awake, drove up to Hawthorne, pulled into the truck stop, and stopped there to take my power nap. So lesson learned. So even as a driver out here 12 years, you're still fine-tuning things, and also Knight, that was new to me. Another driver went on our page and mentioned that the sitting duck thing went on when he was sitting at the truck stop. So something to be aware of. But anyway, when you start with your trainer, because you're new, okay, they will start with real basic information to build on. And when I was in training, oh man, this is 10-minute video already. I'll tell you what I have to do just to make a quick download, not too much information, and I'll start with another continuation of this video. Just quick recap. It's August 11th. I'm headed to Seattle, Tacoma area. I have about 9 hours on my recap today. It's dark. And I just talked a little bit about my own experience with the sitting duck, which I have to, I guess, fine-tune. And we just went through a scale, and it's still dark. And I also talked about the fact that normally I like to start in daytime hours because, in my opinion, it's a little safer. So it's just a judgment call on your part. You can see on a U.S. highway, traffic's coming right at you. And when you're a new driver, the other thing is I forgot to mention, I'll wrap up with this, is deer. You know, fortunately, in 12 years, I have never hit a deer, you know, but this is the kind of country, so far, I haven't really seen deer up here, but in this kind of environment, you can run into a deer, and you can't see really well, because, again, it's dark. I've had deer right in the center, you know, the white lines. I'm driving along like this on a U.S. highway, and bam, there it is. Oh my God, there's a deer. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to hit them, but what they do teach you is you can't swerve or react to the point you end up getting in an accident, you know, head-on collision or run off the road. So they teach you just, unfortunately, you have to hit it. And I've had some close calls. I've had deer running alongside the truck, like 5 or 10 of them. I've had antelope, you know, but fortunately, I haven't hit a deer yet. But that's something to be aware of when you're on rural roads. So anyway, I'm going to close this out. Again, this is Doug.